Hey guys, what's going on? This is Trey here. Hey, this is episode 2 of the Float Brothers video blog. I'm excited to bring this to you today. Sorry I'm a little late. We had a mullet festival this weekend, and as the name sounds, it was pretty country, and which is great because I'm from North Carolina, so it was right down my alley. But it took a little while to get this video blog to you, but here I am, and I hope you enjoy. This episode, I want to talk to you about how my brother and I found out about float therapy and my first experience in a float tank. So, my brother and I first heard about float therapy. Well, it was really Chris, my brother, came to me and told me about it. He had heard about float therapy through the Joe Rogan podcast. If you don't know about Joe Rogan, he was the Fear Factor TV show announcer. He's also the current UFC announcer for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So I guess he has his own podcast. He was talking about how float therapies helped him mentally and physically, and alleviate pains, and also helped him mentally grow. And he had mentioned this in one of his podcasts, and Chris heard about it and was excited to try it because of his back pain. So he told me, and we looked around, and the nearest one was in Orlando. So it just so happens about a month after that, with the military, I ended up going temporary duty out there to Orlando. So it was great. I got to try out what he really wanted to try, and I got to do it first and relay that information to him. But so I got to Orlando about a month later, and then went in for my first float one evening. And I got to tell you guys, the first float is what hooked me. I'll tell you a little bit about the experience. So you get in, you get your own room, like I mentioned in the previous episode. You rinse yourself off in the shower, and then you get in a float tank. So I was originally very nervous about floating because I was a little claustrophobic. But once you get in the float tank, I mean, that all kind of went away for me because the pods are so big, and we're using the same ones that I had floated in. So the pods, when you lay back, you have about 3 foot of room. You can't touch the ceiling of the pod inside of it when you're laying back. So you don't feel claustrophobic at all. It's big in there. So once I felt a lot easier once I laid down and it was that big. I didn't have that anxiety anymore with claustrophobia. So that was awesome. Then I could relax a little more and just enjoy the experience. So when I was floating back, you turn off the lights and you're completely free of your senses. The first 30 minutes are just spent playing around. I mean, you're playing in the water. It's just amazing. Your brain just has never not had senses before. So you're just having fun with the water splashing around. You're having fun listening to your heartbeat. You're having fun listening to your breath like you've never heard it before. So it's just the first 30 minutes were really just for me, just getting used to being in a situation and kind of experiencing it. And it was fun, but it really didn't get a lot out of it the first 30 minutes just because I wasn't really letting go and just relaxing. But that last hour, I did a 90-minute float. That last hour was just amazing. So about 30 minutes after, I was trying to just relax myself and try to think about thoughts. I mean, sometimes people go in without trying to think about anything, but I was like, as thoughts came in, I was trying to think about them and really focus on them. And some thoughts of my daughter being born, my oldest being born, were the first thoughts that came to mind. So I just kind of ran with those. And I tell you what was so cool about it is all the memories became so much more vivid. I felt like it's kind of the same excitement and emotion that I did back then. And also memories that I hadn't remembered before, which is kind of crazy because I guess it's just because the brain doesn't have anything else to process. It can, connect those synapses in your brain again and bring back some old memories. So it was just incredible. And so I just lived that memory thing, and it became like a dream of going through that birth of my child again and all the memories leading up to it. And it was just so cool. So that's what I got out of my first float session. I remember getting out of it and just being ecstatic, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just remembered new things. Oh, I just felt so happy about remembering my daughter's birth again. And so that's what I got out of my first float experience. I know other people get a lot more, but also with that memory thing, I was just felt like Gumby. My body was just completely relaxed. So I knew that we had to do this. I knew this was something I got to bring to everybody around our area. So that's what happened to me. That's all the time I have. I'm trying to keep these at 5 minutes, but I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, and happy floating.